Nobody knows when they're going to go. But who's to say? I could die tomorrow. You could, anybody can. I said, so let's look at life that it's part of life. You don't know exactly. You just do your best at trying to live the longest you can.
For many years, John Travolta carried emotional pain so heavy that it permanently changed him. But now, at 71, he has made a choice that has deeply worried the people closest to him. After losing his beloved wife, Kelly Preston, in 2020, something inside him slowly began to change. By 2025, his friends noticed that he was saying goodbye in ways that felt final and emotional. He started giving away personal items and even recorded what he called a special message for his fans. Soon, shocking whispers began to spread, including rumors about his health and even his death. Behind closed doors, something serious seems to be happening. And whatever John has learned about his future may be far more heartbreaking than anyone truly understands. The Hollywood Dream. From a very beginning, John grew up surrounded by family, and this strong family bond shaped most of his choices later in life. His father, Salvatore, had once dreamed of a career in football, playing at a semi-professional level, but he gave it up to work in tire sales so he could spend more time with his loved ones. His mother, Helen, made a similar sacrifice. She stepped away from acting and singing and chose a stable life as a teacher to support her family. Their home was always full of energy, with siblings Joey, Ellen Ann, Margaret, and Sam all try their hands at acting, singing, and dancing. In that environment, creativity was not just encouraged, it was expected. As a child, John and his siblings constantly challenged one another, pretending to be different characters, putting on small shows and testing their talents. These playful moments slowly shaped John's future. Even though they pushed each other hard, their home was filled with love and strong emotional support. By his mid-teens, John knew clearly that he wanted to become a professional actor. With his family standing behind him, he made a brave decision. He left high school and moved to New York City, where he fully committed himself to acting classes and small stage roles. Many of his friends did not understand his choices. While they were busy playing sports or hanging out, John spent his nights practicing, studying scripts, and improving his skills. Through it all, he never felt lonely because his family continued to support him at every step. His hard work slowly began to pay off. He landed early roles on Broadway, and before long, Hollywood began calling with bigger promises. At first, his television roles were small. He appeared in shows like Emergency and The Rookies, and his family proudly celebrated every achievement. Then came his big break. When he was cast as Vinnie Barbarino in Welcome Back, Kotter, everything changed. The show became a huge success, and John's natural charm made him famous almost overnight. Soon, Hollywood offered him movie roles, and he smoothly moved from television to film. One of his early film roles was Billy Nolan in Stephen King's Carrie. The movie performed well, and John proved that he could handle serious drama and intense horror just as well as comedy. He was no longer seen as just a handsome TV star. It didn't take long for John to become one of the biggest names in entertainment. He played Tony Manero in Saturday Night Fever, a role that earned him an Academy Award nomination, and then Danny Zuko in Grease, where he amazed audiences with his dancing, singing, and undeniable charm. By his mid-20s, John Travolta was not just successful, he was a worldwide superstar. However, Hollywood success is never permanent. After reaching incredible heights, John experienced difficult years. Several of his movies failed at the box office, and he struggled to find roles that matched his earlier success. Still, he never completely disappeared. A major comeback came with Look Who's Talking, a romantic comedy that reminded fans why they'd fallen in love with him in the first place. Later, his career was revived even more powerfully by Pulp Fiction. The film became a cultural phenomenon and brought John back into the spotlight, earning him praise and award attention. This success led to strong performances in Get Shorty, Face Slash Off, and The General's Daughter, making him a favorite for action and crime roles. He also returned to musicals with Hairspray, proving that his classic charm and showmanship were still alive. From the outside, John's life appeared perfect. He had a loving family, loyal fans, and a respected place in Hollywood. But behind the scenes, he was quietly dealing with years of emotional pain and personal loss. Through these experiences, he slowly learned a painful truth. Sometimes, even love and success are not enough to protect a person from heartbreak. The tragedies that struck. John's journey through heartbreak began with Diana Hyland. He met Diana while working on the TV movie The Boy in the Plastic Bubble, where she played his mother. Even though there was an 18-year age difference between them, their connection was immediate and powerful. John later described their bond as electric. They talked constantly on set, grew closer every day, and their friendship quickly turned into deep love. For nearly 2 years, they were inseparable. In an industry often filled with short-term relationships, their romance stood out as something genuine and sincere. But just when their future together seemed bright, tragedy suddenly arrived. Diana had previously undergone surgery for breast cancer and believed she had overcome the disease. Sadly, her health took a serious turn for the worse. While John was busy filming Saturday Night Fever, he rushed back home as soon as he heard the news. He stayed by her side through her final days, holding her hand and witnessing her last moments. Diana passed away at only 41 years old, leaving John completely shattered. He later shared how he tried his best to make her final months full of happiness and comfort. Her love, support, and belief in him stayed with him long after she was gone, becoming a quiet source of strength throughout his life. Nearly 10 years later, John opened his heart again, this time to actress Kelly Preston. For the first time in many years, he felt hopeful and emotionally secure. They met on the set of The Experts, and even though Kelly was married at the time, John later admitted that he felt an instant connection. To him, it was love at first sight. In 1999, John and Kelly got married in a simple, private ceremony in Paris. Soon after, they began building the family John had always dreamed of. Their son, Jet, was born first, followed years later by their daughter, Ella Blue. Life finally felt peaceful. It seemed like John had found the stability and happiness he had been searching for. But sadly, that peace would not last. In 2009, the Travolta family experienced an unbearable tragedy. While vacationing in the Bahamas, their 16-year-old son, Jet, passed away. Jet, who lived with autism and suffered from frequent seizures, had experienced a seizure that led to a fatal accident. The loss completely devastated John and Kelly. In an emotional statement, they described Jet as the most wonderful son anyone could hope for, whose kindness, energy, and joy touched everyone around him. To honor his son's memory, John created the Jet Travolta Foundation. The foundation focused on helping children with special medical, educational, and behavioral needs. Through this work, John tried to turn his pain into something positive, offering support to families who were facing struggles similar to his own. It became his way of giving meaning to his grief. Yet, even after all this, life was not finished testing him. In 2020, John suffered perhaps the most painful loss of his life when Kelly lost her long battle with breast cancer at the age of 57. She had fought the illness privately for 2 years. When she passed away, John shared the heartbreaking news with fans, asking for privacy as he and his children took time to mourn, heal, and rebuild their lives. John Travolta had now endured 3 devastating losses that would have broken most people. Each time, he somehow found the strength to keep moving forward, balancing deep emotional pain with the demands of his career. Much of that strength, he believed, came from his faith in Scientology. But how exactly did this belief system help him survive these dark chapters of his life? Ties to Scientology. Through every success and every heartbreak, one constant presence in John Travolta's life has been the Church of Scientology. He was first introduced to it in the mid-1970s, at a time when he was beginning to feel the heavy pressure of fame and Hollywood life. He was only 21 years old, curious about the world, and searching for guidance in a place that felt exciting but also overwhelming. When a friend introduced him to Scientology, something immediately stood out to him. The people he met seemed confident, positive, and certain about their purpose. John had grown up surrounded by talented performers, creativity, and energy, but had also witnessed doubt, fear, and insecurity in many people around him. For the first time, he was meeting individuals who appeared truly calm and happy from within, and that left a strong impression on him. he decided to take his first Scientology course. And according to John, that choice changed the direction of his life. It was not based on empty promises or unclear advice. Instead, it offered clear steps and practical guidance. Scientology provided him with tools that helped him manage both his personal struggles and professional challenges. Over the years, John has openly shared how the teachings of the church supported him during some of the darkest moments of his life. After losing Diana Hyland, John leaned heavily on Scientology for emotional strength. He later described life after her death as confusing and overwhelming. When tragedy strikes, it is easy to feel completely lost. During that time, he needed something real, something that truly helped him cope, rather than simply offering hopeful words that faded away. Years later, when he lost his son Jet, John once again turned to the church for support. He has admitted that he does not know how he would have survived without it. In the years following Jet's death, church members stayed close to him, traveled with him, and offered constant comfort. They helped him face his unimaginable grief step by step. John later revealed that it took nearly 2 years before he felt strong enough to spend even a day or two on his own. His faith gave him stability when his entire world felt unstable and broken. At its core, Scientology aims to help its followers better understand themselves and the world through organized and structured practices. According to the church's own teachings, it offers a clear path to discovering one's spiritual nature and understanding connections between individuals, families, communities, humanity, all living things, the universe, and even a higher power. A central belief in Scientology is that humans are not just physical beings, but spiritual entities known as Thetans. According to the system, Thetans carry emotional memories and past experiences, sometimes called mental imprints, that continue to affect behavior, emotions, and decisions in the present. In this view, true self-understanding begins by recognizing and dealing with these hidden influences. One of the main methods used for this process is called auditing. During auditing sessions, a trained counselor asks guided questions to help members recall and confront painful or stressful memories. The purpose is to bring emotional relief, greater awareness, and what the church describes as stronger control over one's thoughts and life. Scientology also follows a structured path known as the Bridge to Total Freedom. This system outlines different stages of spiritual and personal growth. Each level is designed to improve understanding of the mind, relationships, and how individuals function in everyday life. This organized system clearly connected with John, and he remained closely involved with Scientology well into the 2020s. However, not long after, quiet rumors began to spread that he may have started distancing himself from the church. What followed was not just a simple shift in belief, but a slow unraveling, connected to a series of controversies that threatened to damage the carefully built reputation he had protected for decades. Controversial legal battles. Even after spending decades in the public eye, John Travolta was never completely free from controversy. From time to time, his personal and legal problems made headlines and placed him under intense public attention. Over the years, he faced several disputes, but the most serious and widely discussed case appeared in 2012, when he suddenly found himself at the center of a major lawsuit. That year, 2 male masseurs filed separate legal complaints against him. Each demanded $2 million in damages and accused John of sexual harassment and assault. The accusation spread quickly through the media, shocking fans and putting the Hollywood star under extreme pressure. In court documents, the 2 men were identified as John Doe 1 and John Doe 2. They claimed that John had made inappropriate and unwanted advances during private massage sessions. These were serious allegations, and news outlets covered the story nonstop. John and his legal team, led by well-known attorney Marty Singer, immediately denied every claim. They insisted that the accusations were completely false. Marty Singer publicly described the second lawsuit as just as absurd and ridiculous as the first. He strongly argued that both cases were made up and supported his statement with evidence that directly challenged the accusations. One of the strongest parts of their defense was a detailed timeline. The first claim stated that John had assaulted one of the plaintiffs in Los Angeles. However, records showed that John was actually on the East Coast at that time, busy filming a movie. This clear mismatch in dates and locations became a major weakness in the case and played a key role in his defense. As the months passed, it became clear that the lawsuits were unlikely to succeed in court. By May of that same year, both cases had been officially dismissed. The first plaintiff withdrew his complaint, and the inconsistencies in the timeline made the second claim impossible to support. As a result, the legal actions lost their credibility. Although the 2012 case was the most dramatic, it was not the only legal controversy John faced. Around 2014, he was once again pulled into the spotlight for another troubling reason. His former co-pilot, Douglas Gotterba, publicly claimed that he and John had been involved in a secret romantic relationship during the 1980s. Douglas had stopped working for John many years earlier and had signed a legal agreement that included a confidentiality clause. This agreement required him to keep private matters confidential. However, years later, when Douglas began speaking publicly and suggested he might publish a book, he argued that the contract should not prevent him from sharing his story. He believed that the truth should be decided in court, not hidden behind paperwork. John strongly denied these claims. Just as he had done before, he called the accusations false and irresponsible. He accused Douglas of trying to pressure him for money and damage his reputation. Tensions increased when Douglas reportedly suggested that he would stop speaking publicly if he received a large financial settlement. John's legal team immediately rejected this idea. Douglas responded by saying that money was not his main goal. He claimed that he only wanted a legal decision that would allow him to speak freely and determine who was telling the truth. According to him, it was about clearing his name and letting the courts decide the facts, rather than making money from controversy. Even so, the impact was already done. These allegations created more rumors about John's private life and caused people to question his loyalty to the Church of Scientology. At this point, the situation became even more complex. Former Scientology executive Mike Rinder spoke publicly about the church's strict views on sexuality. While he avoided directly labeling John or making personal accusations, he stated clearly that if someone as famous as John ever openly identified as gay, it would cause serious problems inside the organization. According to Mike, the church holds strongly negative views toward homosexuality. Even though it rarely discusses this openly, this raised further questions about how comfortable John truly felt within the church. Mike also pointed out another interesting detail. In his opinion, Kelly Preston appeared to be far more devoted to Scientology than John was. This view was supported by another former church leader, Karen de la Carrière, who described Kelly as a deeply committed believer. She suggested that Kelly may have either been unaware of or chosen to ignore the rumors and accusations surrounding John's alleged behavior. Karen described John in a very different way. She called him a risk-taker who enjoyed living on the edge, especially in his personal life. Over time, this image seemed to match several stories and controversies that followed him throughout his career. In the end, all of these events left many people wondering where John truly stood. Between the church's strict rules, former insiders questioning his loyalty, and years of rumors he never fully addressed, his silence slowly became as powerful as any public statement he could have made. A final goodbye? In recent times, John has quietly been sending signals that he may be ready for a major change in his life. After spending decades in the spotlight, losing the people he loved most, and slowly questioning his long-standing connection to a church that once gave him comfort, it seems he has reached a point where he can no longer continue the same way. Emotionally and mentally, he appears ready to turn a new page. According to close sources, the 70-year-old actor has been considering moving to Australia. He may be thinking about leaving behind the fast-paced, stressful lifestyle of Los Angeles for a calmer and more peaceful life down under. After years of dealing with fame, pressure, heartbreak, and constant public attention, John seems to be searching for a place where he is still respected, appreciated, and remembered with warmth. In Los Angeles, the environment has changed. Even a legend like John is not always recognized anymore, especially by younger generations. While he still has powerful friends who admire him and treat him like an icon, he reportedly feels disconnected from a city that once celebrated him as one of its biggest stars. This growing sense of distance may be one of the reasons he feels drawn to Australia, where his movies and legacy remain strong. A close family friend once explained that in Australia, it feels like Greece was released just yesterday. Audiences there have supported John for decades and continue to show genuine love for his work. This admiration is not just based on memories. It is still active and alive. Stage productions like Grease the Musical regularly sell out, with thousands of fans eager to relive the magic of his classic performances. This level of appreciation is something John seems to miss in the United States. Part of John's deep connection to Australia also comes from his friendship with the late Olivia Newton-John. Their time together on Grease created a lifelong bond that made John feel like an honorary Australian. They remained close friends for many years, and John always valued that relationship. His connection to Australia is also personal and emotional. Recently, he traveled from New Zealand to Australia with his children, Ella Blue and Benjamin, for a short visit. This trip allowed him to reconnect with a place where he has always felt comfortable and welcomed. It shows that he is drawn not only to public admiration, but also to the peaceful environment, slower lifestyle, and the chance to spend quality time with his family. At the same time, John may also be opening himself up to a new emotional chapter in his life. In recent months, quiet rumors have suggested that he might be ready to love again. After keeping his personal life private for many years, friends say he is slowly becoming open to the idea of romance. One name that has quietly appeared in these conversations is Kim Basinger. Since losing his wife, John has mostly stayed away from the dating scene. He focused on healing and protecting his privacy. But now, people close to him say something inside him has changed, and he seems more willing to connect again. John and Kim share a long history. Their connection goes back several decades in Hollywood. They were first seen together at industry events in the early 1980s, met again at award shows over the years, and even worked together in the Film A Love Song for Bobby Long. They remained in touch, and according to friends, their relationship has recently begun to feel deeper and more meaningful. Someone close to John revealed that he has always had a soft spot for Kim. However, this is the first time he seems truly ready to explore where things might lead. Those around him say Kim has brought a calm and peaceful energy back into his life, not in a dramatic or attention-seeking way, but in a gentle and steady way that feels safe after everything he's endured. Kim is known for being private, grounded, and emotionally thoughtful, qualities that seem to connect strongly with John at this stage of his life. Friends have even encouraged him, reminding him that it is okay to move forward and find happiness again, without any pressure. For now, nothing is being rushed or officially announced. According to those close to him, what matters most is that John is emotionally open again. After years of pain, silence, and survival, even allowing himself to think about love is a powerful step forward. Thank you for watching. Be sure to check out the videos appearing on your screen for more unbelievable and inspiring stories.